Hello again and welcome to another video from the Marketing Study Guide. In this video I'm going to have a look at the for and against using customer satisfaction as a marketing metric. Okay, my name is Jeff and I'm a long-term marketing lecturer and practitioner. Okay, very quick introduction to customer satisfaction. As you know, it's the intersection between prior expectations, what we expect before the purchase, and then compared against the value or perceived value that we think we got. Okay, it's a very quick mechanism in most people's minds, particularly for a low involvement product. Oh, gee, that was disappointing, or that was pretty good. Or perhaps a little bit more analytical if it's a more highly involved purchase decision. We spend a little bit more time about the fors and against of the purchase. And as a result of that, expectation versus perceived performance will end up with either very happy, very satisfied, delighted in some marketing textbooks, satisfied, and if performance is well below what we expected, then we're dissatisfied or very dissatisfied. So, okay, so why would we use this as a metric? So let's start for reasons why. The first thing is it's a logical connection. Now, obviously in some industries this does not work, particularly where there's switching barriers, etc. But from a general perspective, it makes sense, okay? And there's a connection between customer satisfaction and financial outcomes for the business. So we start down here and we actually deliver high satisfaction. That satisfaction should lead into repeat business. So, gee, that was great, I'll come back. So loyalty, that makes sense, okay? So there's a connection there. Then we've got this strong word of mouth. Okay, so we not only are we positive in terms of our behavior, we're also positive in terms of our referral and with online reviews or talking to other people, etc. And what that gives us from a marketing perspective is the ability to grow with limited cost or lower cost. Because we've got positive word of mouth and we're retaining our customer base, we are growing. So two things are happening. One, we're adding customers that are staying loyal. So our customer base is very stable. And then on top of that, we're bringing in new customers through word of mouth, which doesn't cost us anything in terms of promotional spend. Consumers are doing that on our behalf. So we've got, let's call them free customers, as in free advertising or free media costs, coming in, and they hopefully become quite loyal as well. So we end up with a way of growing the business through new customers, retained customers, and obviously we end up with a much more profitable long-term business. Fantastic, good news. Okay, so why we're using it? One, we've got that logical connection there. That all makes sense. The second point there is, I've got a spelling mistake. Important for marketing to be financially focused. So as we know in today's world, marketing needs to be financially accountable, so we can demonstrate a connection between the things we do for customer satisfaction and for building the brand and how that then relates into financials. That is important to do, and we expect it to do that in a business environment. Third point there, it can be used as a single summary measure. So we can go, hey, all the things that we can do in terms of marketing, yeah, we've got a brand equity score and we've got a customer score, satisfaction score. And we can go, okay, all of these things are contributing. Okay, so even though we've got a strong brand, that's trumped or superior is our satisfaction, because, hey, customers like to deal with us because we've got a well-known, likable brand. And all these things scale up to this point of customer satisfaction. So we could argue that by improving that is a demonstration that our overall marketing activities are improving. Fourth point there, traditional metric, been around for a long time, very established, been used widely. We can benchmark it. We've got history of it. We've probably got competitor access of how competitor scores, etc. So it's a great benchmarking tool. It's been widely used, accepted, so it's foundational to marketing. It's simple for management and customer staff to understand. So it's very easy to communicate what the question is on a scale of 1 to 5, how satisfied you are. Everybody sort of gets that. Okay, so you can communicate that in marketing meetings and proposals and presentations, etc. We can use it as a promotional tool. We can go out and say, hey, we've got 85% satisfied customers, or whatever the number is, and we can use it, if it's a good number, to say how wonderful we are, or we're superior to our competitors, etc. And it's a simple question, okay, easy to do, capture the information, etc. So lots of reasons to use it. Okay, another reason is we can identify problems and issues. So here's just some metrics here. Score 1 to 5, surveyed 1,000 customers, and we can work out where they are. We can work out our average score of 3.5, which is just okay. 60% are satisfied or dissatisfied, satisfied or very satisfied up the top here, our top 2 boxes. And we can go, okay, oh gee, we've got 220% of our customers are neutral towards us. Okay, what's going on there? And we've got the survey, and we obviously ask them other questions, and we can identify issues for neutral. And then we've got 200 people down the bottom there are dissatisfied or very dissatisfied. And again, if we've structured our survey appropriately, we can identify some things that they're not overly happy with or where they're disappointed, and we can then improve, okay, and add that into our marketing programs. Fantastic. Okay, let's have a look at the counter argument. Why not use customer satisfaction? Well, a couple of reasons. Satisfaction is that intersection between expectations and performance. So if we have poorly framed expectations in the marketplace, so if we have, for whatever reason, undersold the company or undersold the brand, we would generally score good levels of customer satisfaction. So we could almost manipulate the number to some extent. So we go, oh, yeah, we're just okay, come and see us. Obviously, we wouldn't say that in promotions, but if it comes across like that to the consumer, we're going to bring down the number of new customers, which is not good. But the customers who do come in will come in and go, oh, gee, better than I expected. I'm satisfied. Our satisfaction scores go up. However, our number of new customers are coming down, and our financial relationship that we had from satisfaction to financial outcome is going to fall apart. Likewise, the opposite, if we set really high expectations, we get out there and say how wonderful we are, we're the best company in the industry, and we'll never deal with anyone else as good as us, etc. And people come in and they are underwhelmed, and they'll be dissatisfied, and we'll drive that number down. But we win a lot of first-time customers, and it looks like our sales will bump up, but the repeat business will come down, and again, will damage our brand, basically. The other thing, it measures against expectations, not what we're doing. So a simple question there is, example there is a low-price restaurant or diner or something, and we're out somewhere and we're not familiar with the area, and we walk in, and this is a pretty ordinary diner, and we get a meal for $5, and it was fantastic. So we have high expectations, okay? But if somebody says, hey, what's a good restaurant to go to? You're not going to mention this place. If you're going to a special date, you're not going to go there. So even though you're very satisfied with it, you're satisfied with it in a particular scenario. So you might be off by yourself, you might be in a hurry, you might be in a certain location, but it doesn't expand itself to long-term value. So we can have high satisfaction levels of certain businesses, but without long-term success. Okay, so that expectation thing is always muddying the water a little bit. Customers will adjust their expectations over time, and we end up with long-term customers that are satisfied. So you may come into a company, you've never dealt with them, and they delivered up here, and you go, that's fantastic, but next time your expectations rise to meet what they're doing, because you now have experience, and you end up going from delighted the first time, oh, that was fantastic, because you weren't expecting it. And then when you go back, it's, oh, well, I expected that. That's just okay. Yep. Okay, I know what to get. And you grab it, the satisfaction comes down from a 5 out of 5 to maybe a 4 out of 5. So that's a satisfaction score will drop. And another problem with, because we're capturing the data through surveys, is you typically have more engaged and satisfied customers participating. Typically in a customer survey, you have two broad groups that are going to be involved. One, the people who love you, and the regular customers, they think you're wonderful, and they're going to jump on and do the survey online and say, hey, you're fantastic. And then you're also going to have a small proportion of customers who are really angry, very dissatisfied, but have not got around to leaving the company yet. They're still on the email list or dealing with the company somehow, and they will give you quite negative comments. The bunch of consumers in the middle who are disinterested, they deal with you, but they're not all that excited about you, they usually don't get involved. So you don't necessarily get a fair cross-section. Okay, I just want to talk about how that second last point, which was this one here, customers adjusting their expectations. What happens is that people come in with vague expectations. They haven't dealt with you before, and they may have got observation. If you're a retailer, they'll have a look at you, or they may have read some reviews about you, or they just might be trialing you. And they've got expectations, but they don't really know a lot about you. And when they deal with you, they firm up those expectations. So customer satisfaction is moving around a bit because it's expectations to what's being delivered. This is the unknown, the expectations. Eventually, when I've dealt with you 4 or 5 times that I bought your product on a regular basis, etc., I know what I'm going to get, or know the range I'm going to get. So I will gravitate to my expectations will match. So what will happen initially, we'll have this roller coaster effect of mismatch, but eventually we're pretty aware of the range of expectations and what's going to be delivered. So we narrow that, and we end up from being delighted to being just satisfied. If we're disappointed, we just leave. Okay, and we stop being a customer, which is this. So what happens is that if delighted, we raise our expectations and we become satisfied because our expectations will come up. And if we're opposite, we're dissatisfied, we go somewhere else. So we end up with lots of people just sitting in the middle bucket here of satisfied. And for a long-term business, our satisfaction scores, unless we're doing things dramatic, unless our competitors are doing something dramatic, our satisfaction scores will typically stick in a range, plus or minus 5%. They're not going to move a lot. So it's probably not a metric that tells us a lot unless we're digging down and working out what the drivers are and what the factors are. Okay, and how to improve on the CSAT metric. I've got another video that goes through all these share of hearts measures. As you can see, number 6 on the list is customer satisfaction, but there are 8 other alternatives to use. You would use typically a selection of these. So please check out my other video. I'll put a link in the description below. So hopefully that was a helpful video for you. Please subscribe to my channel and please check out that other video I mentioned.